Authorities in Michigan say their investigation into the contamination of the Flint water supply is, quote, only just beginning, and, quote, nobody is off the table. Criminal charges filed against 3 low-level government workers. The allegations include tampering with evidence, misleading county and federal officials about the safety of Flint's water. Joining us now, Representative Dan Kildee, who represents the people of Flint, Michigan, in Congress. Congressman, it is good to have you with us. Let's start with the basic proposition. Do you believe, with your understanding of the situation, that people should go to jail?
Well, certainly people should be investigated, and if the facts lead to prosecution, that is one step toward justice. So I'm very pleased to see the State Attorney General and the United States Justice Department looking into this. Of course, the concern that I have is that while this is entirely appropriate, I want to ensure that this does not obfuscate the need for the other forms of justice that the people of Flint are due, and that's the restorative justice required in order to make Flint whole again.
Don't they go hand in hand, though? If you don't punish officials for doing something that is found to be willfully, knowingly, maybe even recklessly damaging to the community and health of its people, it's going to keep happening.
That is true, and this has to happen simultaneously. Punishing these individuals will send a chilling effect to anybody who decides they're going to play fast and loose with environmental protections, which is what the state of Michigan clearly did in the case of Flint. But we want to make sure that the price is not just paid by a few people who are basically at the bottom of the chain,
right,
but it also applies to the people who created the culture that made it okay for these folks to manipulate test samples and basically treat these protections as if they are annoyances and not a basic protection of human health.
Well, money over health. Money over health is what the basic allegation is in a kind of in a rhetorical sense. Some of the concerns in the legal community are that this doesn't feel right. After people who you know are largely functionaries, who are going to say they did what they were told to do, and yet they're getting prosecuted, which means they didn't feed their way up. Usually the lower echelons get passed over because of what they can offer up for the upper echelons. Are you afraid that these guys may be scapegoated and we may not get to the right part of the food chain here?
Well, I'm very sympathetic to that argument, and I am concerned about it because everything that we have seen showed that at the very highest levels of state government there was knowledge and there was complicity, and there may even have been orders to try to get past the data that they showed that was showing that there were problems with lead in the water in Flint. I don't know where those facts go. I think the integrity of the investigative process has to be maintained. I just hope that they are as aggressive in looking at those folks who made decisions far up into state government as they are looking at the people who maybe, perhaps, were just simply following orders. That doesn't excuse them, but it certainly begs the question as to whether others should be brought into this as well.
Michaela was on the show earlier talking with Leanne Walters. You know, she's suing as well. She's a parent there. She has a kid who got sick. A lot of parents are in that same situation. And the proposition of the lawsuit is as powerful as it is plain. The situation still sucks there, Congressman. People are still having to live with bottled water. They're getting encouraged to use filtered water. It's not been found to be safe beyond the point of concern of the scientific community. The infrastructure money isn't pouring into that place the way we expected it to be. Why can't you and the other elected officials get this done?
Well, we should.
I know you should, but why hasn't it happened?
Well, just to be blunt, because we have Republicans in Michigan that are blocking it, I have a bill that would provide federal and state support, equally matched from each of those levels of government, that would fix the pipes, that would provide the public health support, that would provide the developmental support. But so far, I mean, I have to be saying I'm frustrated with the fact that in Congress, for example, I have many Republicans who are very sympathetic, who are very critical of what happened, who actually blame the EPA, ironically, but when it comes to actually putting money on the table to fix the problem, they stop short. They say, no, this is a state issue. Look, there's no excuse in Congress or in the Michigan legislature for not funding the entire recovery plan for the city of Flint. And what I fear is that they're thinking, well, if we just sort of mark time, this story will go away. Look, I represent Flint, Michigan. I'm not going to let it go away. That doesn't mean we'll get it done, but I'm sure not going to stop.
Understood. Congressman Dan Kildee, thank you very much. We'll stay on this story.